Man, oh man, I cannot believe I found this game. Many years back, we had a PS2 in our barracks overseas, and we used to get GamePro or some other gaming magazine that came with demo discs. We played one that contained a game called Fugitive Hunter, and in it, it was said that you could take down Osama bin Laden. The gameplay was so off the wall, and although we had fun playing the demo stage, I didn't really think twice about owning it. Until I saw one of the YouTube channels I subscribed to, Triple Jump, or back then it might have been under Vidiots. But anyway, they play it as part of their worst games ever series. At that point, I thought, oh shit, I need to find this game. I completely forgot about it. Fast forward to December of 2019, and I found it in a local game store for a low price of $10. Deal. So I bought it, brought it home, and remembered just how brutally difficult it is. So let's talk about the story for a quick second before going on about the gameplay. You play as a Jake Seaver, an agent for a counterterrorism unit who's tasked to take down a bunch of leading terrorists solo. Yeah, you don't get any support here. It's just Jake, his armaments, his witty one-liners, or lack of wit I should say, but we'll get to that. But that's all for the story. Seaver just needs to take down the evil guys of the world and eventually meet up with Bin Laden to take him down, which of course was heavily used as a marketing method to sell the game. I don't think it worked. From the start, you get thrown right into a mountainous landscape with a multitude of grunts coming for you. The best option is to turn around and head right into the cave, because although it's a dead end, there's a large amount of weaponry and extra lives in there, so it's a good idea, even though you do hole yourself in for a short bit. But that's alright, because the pathway down there is narrow, and it's easy enough to mow everyone down. The game is obviously an FPS, and with that, there's a large amount of weapons to take down all the enemies that cross your path. Shotguns, dart guns, pistols, assault rifles, sniper rifles. It's a healthy assortment, and you'll be finding plenty of ammo, both dropped from enemies and also just lying around waiting for you to take it. And it's good that ammo keeps falling, because although I'm not sure this is 100% true, it sure does feel like many of the areas of the game have enemies that just keep spawning in. I know it's definitely happening in the first stage, but after that, I'm not so sure. It gives you the motivation to keep moving, because if you stand still, you're not going to survive, as health and armor pickups are fairly stingy in the game. And that's the biggest problem with it. It's just plain unfair at times. Due to the large group of terrorists, you will always be getting shot at. If you have armor, it's not that big of a deal. You won't take a ton of damage. But the second your armor is gone, you're gonna drop quickly. Look here. I died within mere seconds. I was at full health, and look how fast it whittles down to zero. Unlike other games, there's not really any checkpoints. Instead, you have to use lives, here presented as continues, to keep going. If you decide to utilize one of these continues, you get right back up where you originally died with maxed out health and armor. If you don't use one, it's back to the start of the stage with you. This is pretty crappy, and I don't agree with it. I don't mind the challenge, but let's face it, the PS2 controller doesn't contribute to the smoothest experience in FPS genre. And that whole cheap, quick death thing just doesn't happen when you're getting shot at. There were a few other times where there were some other bullshit occurrences that I yelled at the TV. One was when a thug pushed down a barrel and that flattened me. Okay, I kinda get that. I should have moved out of the way, but I don't think it should have flat out killed me. But what about here? How would I die? I have no freaking clue. I almost quit here. I almost did. But I pushed on. For at least a little while, because I still can't bring myself to do the final stages. And again, that's because of the difficulty. The hit detection felt a bit spotty at times, so I just ended up using the tac shotgun most of the time. Enemies died quicker, and even if they did try to do their fancy roll out of the way, it normally took care of them. Although I would have preferred to use the assault rifle, I tended not to because the recoil on it was insane. If you hold down the trigger for a second or so, and then adjust your crosshair, the weapon actually fires steadily. The fuck? It just feels weird. As you play, you'll learn that the game doesn't take itself seriously in the least. Seaver is constantly throwing out stupid comments when he finds ammo, completes an objective, takes down a terrorist. You know, everything he does. There's funny little scenes after lead terrorist takedowns that might make you chuckle. And the takedowns themselves? Well, take a look. Yeah, the game turns into a frickin' fighting game, but a bare bones one at that. You have 4 buttons available, and they function as kick, left hand, right hand, and block. Counterattacks will be your best friend, because a lot of the enemies will assault you with constant flurries of attacks. Although how every single terrorist is a black belt in karate or something, I don't understand it. And oddly enough, Seaver has the exact same moveset. Do they go to the same school? If you see the opponent's health bar blinking blue, that's your cue to press 2 different buttons at one time, so that you pull off an awesome combo that will eliminate a chunk of the life bar. Once you are able to empty the bar, you still have to put the enemies in cuffs by smashing X repeatedly until you fill the capture gauge. These are typically the easiest parts of the game, but if you're not careful and go full offense, you may fall. Wow, that's all the notes I have for this game. Is there anything else to mention? Probably not. The graphics aren't bad, and there's a nice variety of places that you have to battle in, from the mountains of Afghanistan to a South American jungle, to a gang hideout in Miami, complete with horribly stereotyped music. Speaking of music, it gets kind of repetitive. Some of it isn't bad, but it's not something you're going to throw on your iPod or Zune or whatever you kids listen to nowadays. So yeah, that's Fugitive Hunter. It's a game I forgot about for a good 14-15 years, and kind of wish I still had forgotten, as it's just a mediocre arcade-style shooter. The fighting mechanics are just weird, and felt like something tacked on to be different. Because all the terrorists initially shoot at you anyway, so it makes no sense that Seaver and the enemy both drop their weapons to fight it out mano-a-mano. The shooting could have been polished a bit too, and the assault rifle made to be not so crappy. It's not a bad game, but it's not great either. It's average. Final score? 4 out of 7. This is Reaper. Happy fragging.